I didn't watch. You had another encounter with Professor Anton. I noticed that up on the. I noticed it, but I didn't get a chance to look at it yet.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it that. You know, you just, you know, I make response videos to what he says now and then still, but you know, we didn't, you know, we aren't really conversing on any particular subject directly, just talking past each other, I suppose.
To be honest, he and most of the people that seem to flock to him, I've had like that. Oh, what's this? Apropos of snow or something. They college boys, you gotta love them.
Yeah, well, his stuff I write off to just that. You know, he's young and he's trying to, like, you know what I'm saying. I mean, you got to cut him a little bit of slack because here he is. He's really good looking. He's got all this, you know, great education. You know, he's looking for, he's looking for a world to play in. You know what I'm saying? He's looking for a way to make a life for himself, right? Because he's got it all looking ahead of him. You know, at least we can sit there and say, well, yeah, heart attack probably Thursday. I'm out of here. You know, we're sort of. You know, we have more than 1 foot in the grave. I mean, we're waist high, sitting in the hole, saying, you know, what's it going to be? You know, where's the trap door? Flip the rest of the way, right? We're sort of know it's a trap door. We know it's going down. We know we're going down. So I'm just saying it's easier for us. You know, but at his age, whoops, you know, I don't mean to make excuses for it, but I'm just saying, you know, he's just desperate to find a way to make life work, and I think that's true of Matt. You know, you know, I don't know if you know Matt, thou art that, you know. You know, he's just big. He became religious. He just invented a fake, like, draw a picture of a weird concept and call it God. You know, Godcept, Godcept. You know, just draw a picture of something really doofy, call it God, say it's at the center of the universe, you know, just make up a new religion. It doesn't have any of that moral crap. It doesn't care about abortions. It doesn't care about gay rights or marriage. It's just like this wacky thing in the center of the universe that makes the whole thing justified. You know, it's just, you know, whatever. But yeah, I think, you know, that youth thing is troublesome because they're just trying to find an excuse to say, you know, there's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I gotta admit, I get angrier the closer they approach my age.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, people who have lived through it, you're just like, oh, come on. I mean, come on. You've got to have had this figured out by now.
But then again, there's something about academia in general, and academics are so, it's almost incestuous, you know, they're so cloistered within themselves, and they only talk to each other, and they blow smoke up each other's asses, and honestly, most of them, to me, don't seem to have a clue. Actually, it seems like they're still kids, you know.
Yeah, well, that is disappointing. I mean, you know, Fred, you know, his conference report. Now, you know, he's a professor, but it's theater, right? So he's in arts, you know what I mean? So, you know, but yeah, I mean, he's sort of a straighter shooter, you know? He's not, like, you're not sitting there saying this guy just talks this airy-fairy crap because he makes a living doing it, you know? But he also has the out where he can be very obtuse. You know, he can get lost in just saying, well, here's this part of ourselves, let's explore that, and he doesn't have to deal with philosophy. You know, he doesn't have to deal with the philosophy of theater. He just has to deal with the fact that people like to be entertained, and so this is what you do to entertain them or inform them. And these are the mechanisms you use. So he just has to, he keeps his professional life narrow, you know. But you know, and then, but yeah, you like the Corey Anton people are the ones that are the real annoying ones. But these guys are teaching essentially the philosophy. You know, they're teaching what books have the, you know, a concept of life in them. What's the description of what it is to be human? They're answering that kind of question, and they're answering that question with complete babble. And that's really fucking, that's snake oil. That's cheating people of their intelligence.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I don't know. I suppose it's just the fact that, which again is disappointing, is these folks just don't seem to be very introspective. They've found a comfortable little slot for themselves, and they see the whole world according to their rather privileged lives, and they just don't seem to have much ability to see things objectively, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, I don't even know if it's objective, but yeah, I just don't think they're very honest.
Well, my opinion,
And they got a big ego, you know, it's big egos. Big ego is a huge problem for human beings, you know, in philosophy, because they, you know, they have attached their ego to a lot of these concepts, and so if life fails, they have to fail, and they're not going to admit their failure.
I think it's
hard to
outright
do.
selfishness, because most people are like, you know, I got mine, so fuck everybody else. As long as I got my beer and my TV and my comfy chair, everybody else can go fuck themselves.
Yeah, I agree. People seem to have kind of a basic inability to look outside of themselves. If everything's good with them, everything's just good in the world, you know? And if you don't like that, you know, fuck you.
Yeah, and it's like they almost claim a right to the dead and the dying and the non, you know, all the things that don't have a voice. You know, all the 6-year-old kids that died of leukemia, they somehow say, well, they would have liked life too. Or, you know, and like, you know, we don't poll people after the whole game is played. You know, we poll them usually in their prime, when everything's okay. You know, why don't you ask them these questions at the end, you know, when they are, you know, in the nursing home and, you know, everything's abandoned them, and, you know, with the last little bit of brains they have left, all they have is shit. That's all they got to say. Yeah, poll them then.
But yeah, it's like you
and
said, the people who aren't here yet. And I don't have to tell you anti-natalist this, but the worst part is that they're fucking preying on the people who are soon to be and fucking further on down the road.
The part, I guess, that really irritates me, too, is there's a self-righteousness about it to the point where, I mean, antinatalism, to me, is pretty much the epitome of philanthropy, of looking out for other people, no matter how my life is, whether I kill myself or not. I don't really give a shit about that. It's about the people who have yet to walk behind me, you know, and go through all the crap before they fucking die. And the part that really irritates me is, like this other fella said, is that none of that stuff, there doesn't seem to be any sense of introspection. There doesn't seem to be any sense of realizing that it's a tough world out there for a hell of a lot of people. And just because I'm happy doesn't mean, I mean, I can look at the news every day. I can see the way the world runs throughout history, and I can see that basically the world is a fucked up place at any given time.
Yeah, and who do you have a right to impose upon? I mean, 1 in 100? 1 in 1,000? I mean, what's the number? Does it have to, how high does the number have to be, or how low does the number have to be? You know, how many people that are truly horrifically imposed upon? Like, even if they grant the imposition, they'll sit there and say that somehow somebody else's pleasure justifies it. Well, who the fuck are you to say? Who the fuck am I to put you in chains and say that your chains make my, you know, 20 of my kids happy? Okay, I'll put you in chains forever, and my 20 people will enjoy, you know, the pleasure of your forced servitude. I mean, that part pisses me off. And then we haven't even gotten to the animal part of the equation, which is the game, you know, realistically, for sentient life. That's the game, is what all these animals are the carnage they're experiencing year in and year out for millions of fucking years.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, it's not just a human problem. I mean, we're the ones, we finally reached a point of consciousness or awareness or whatever where we can talk about it, but it's basic biology. It's still the big fish and the little fish when it boils down to it, and everybody gets fucking plowed under eventually, and this whole fucking idealization of the so-called circle of life just makes me want to puke.
Yeah, I mean, it is puke, and it makes you want to, because, yeah, that's what it's all made out of. It's just this biomass, you know, this biomass being stirred in this damn manure machine, you know, and it clumps into little shapes, and because it's, you know, it's those little gingerbread clumps of the fucking biomass show up now and then, that somehow you're going to keep the machine running because you like the little gingerbread shapes. And it's just such bullshit. Fuck that shit. Don't be playing my fucking video in Stickam. You hear me, Bastion guy? Bastion, whatever the fucking your name is. Bushaya, whatever the fuck it is. Fuck you.
By the way, for Blas, Jesus hates my guts.
Yeah, well, Jesus was a cunt. Another egomaniacal, showboaty fuckhead. The poor will be with you always. I am here for just a short while. So, fuck the poor, you know, rub my feet, you know. Fuck you, cunt.
Yeah, when you were talking about how many people would be imposed upon, I got to think of, like, one person would be too many for me, and it got me to think about Jesus. Like, if Jesus came up to me and was like, do you want me to die for your sins? I'd be like, no. Like, I should answer for my own fucking shit. Like,
well, I'd like him to die for the sins I'm paying for without even sinning, though, okay? I mean, yeah, if he can get rid of that pain during childbirth thing, you know, if he can undo the Eve sin, yeah, get to it, fucker. That would be a good one to get rid of. And I think most of the other infirmities of the human race are supposed to be sins of Adam and Eve, right? I mean, all the blight that we endure is because of fucking sin. So I want him to undo all those past crimes. Yeah, forgive my father's sins, okay? And treat me, like, fairly. And, okay, punish me when I actually fuck somebody over.
Really is
yeah, isn't that funny that we get punished for inherited sins?
But you didn't nullify any of the sins that can be done.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that people can make any rational sense out of that, right? So here we are saying, well, look, I can explain evolution in 10 fucking minutes, and to boot, I can explain to you how the ethics of your God is preposterous. I mean, why are you being obedient to a God who punishes 10,000 generations into the future for a fucking jaywalking offense? I mean, Jesus, I mean, right? I mean, Eve basically jaywalked. She committed the crime of, well, I wanted to know what the tree was doing, and I took an apple, and, you know, I mean, come on, it's a minor fucking crime.
Yeah, and don't you know, if I have a pool open in my yard and I don't put a fence around it and somebody falls in, I'm the one who gets in trouble. I think God's getting off scot-free. I mean, all he had to do was put a little fence around that tree, and all this shit wouldn't have come up.
Yeah, I mean, telling a little ignorant, you know, immature human, you know, they're just hatched. You made them out of fucking dirt, right? They're dirt humans, right? You're expecting dirt humans to know better, and then you sit there and entice them by saying, well, there's a magical tree over there full of goodies and stuff, but you can't have any, so don't be picking no fruit off that tree. I mean, sure, that's fair. Yeah, go do that to a 5-year-old. Go tell a 5-year-old that there's magic fun behind a door in your house, and then tell a 5-year-old, don't ever open the door, and see what happens.